Question 1. What are the main differences between Spring Bean scopes? Answer: in Spring, you have 5 different bean scopes: Singleton, Prototype, Request, Session, and Global Session. Singleton is the default scope, and it's the most commonly used. Prototype creates a new instance every time, while Request and Session are specific to web applications. Question 2. How does Spring's transaction management work? Answer: Spring provides both declarative and programmatic transaction management, commonly using the @transactional annotation. It allows rolling back or committing transactions based on operations, and you can define isolation levels, propagation, and more. Question 3. What is Spring Boot auto configuration? Answer: Spring Boot's auto configuration automatically configures your Spring application based on the libraries available in your class path. It detects what dependencies you're using and sets up beans and configurations automatically, reducing the need for manual configurations. Question 4. What is the difference between a component, at service, at repository, and at controller? Answer: at component is a generic stereotype for any Spring managed component. At service is specifically for business logic services. Repository is used for data access objects, providing additional features like exception translation. A controller is for handling HTTP requests in a Spring MVC web application. Question 5. What are Spring profiles and how are they used? Answer: Spring profiles allow you to define different beans or settings for different environments like development, testing, or production. You can activate profiles using the spring.profiles.active property in your configuration file, making it easy to switch environments. Question 6. How do you secure a Spring Boot application? Answer: Spring Security is the framework used to secure a Spring Boot application. You can implement role-based access control, OAuth 2, JWT tokens, and more to secure your app. It allows securing endpoints with annotations and provides various authentication mechanisms. Question 7. What are Spring Boot actuators and why are they important? Answer: Spring Boot actuators provide production-ready features like monitoring and metrics for your application. They expose endpoints such as /health, /metrics, and others to check the health, performance, and behavior of your microservices in real time. Question 8. How does Spring handle circular dependencies between beans? Answer: Spring resolves circular dependencies using setter or field injection. If 2 beans depend on each other, Spring will break the circular reference using these methods. Constructor injection, however, cannot resolve circular dependencies and will result in an error. Quest 9. What is the difference between Spring JPA and Hibernate ANS? Spring Data. JPA is an abstraction layer that simplifies JPA implementations, while Hibernate is a specific JPA implementation. Spring Data JPA works with Hibernate by reducing the amount of boilerplate code, making it easier to perform CRUD operations. Quest 10. What are the different types of dependency injection in Spring ANS? Spring supports 3 types of dependency injection: constructor injection, setter injection, and field injection. Constructor injection is the most preferred as it promotes immutability and easier testing, while setter and field injection are used for optional dependencies. Quest 11. What is the use of @event listener in Spring? Answer: the @event listener annotation is used to listen for specific application events and react to them. It's commonly used in event-driven architecture, allowing different parts of the application to communicate indirectly through event handling. Quest 12. How do you handle exceptions in Spring Boot-ons? In Spring Boot, exceptions can be handled using controller advice and exception handler annotations. You can also extend response entity exception handler to create custom responses for different exception scenarios, allowing you to manage error handling globally. Quest 13. What is AOP in Spring and how does it work? ANS AOP, or aspect-oriented programming, allows you to separate cross-cutting concerns like logging, security, and transactions from the core business logic. Spring's AOP module lets you define aspects and advices that are applied to specific methods using annotations. Quest 14. What are Spring beans and the bean lifecycle? ANS. Spring beans are objects managed by the Spring container. The bean lifecycle includes instantiation, dependency injection, initialization through init methods or at post construct, and destruction, which can be handled by custom destroy methods or at pre-destroy quest 15. How does caching work in Spring Boot? Answer: Spring Boot's caching abstraction allows you to cache data using annotations like at cacheable and at cache evict. It integrates with different caching providers like eCache, Redis, and others to store frequently accessed data, improving app performance.